Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so today I'm doing a video on the new Yarder. I've had lots of requests from people about the Yarder here for the past little while, so I figured today I would give a little demonstration video on exactly how it works before I release it so that everybody can watch this, hopefully get an idea how everything works and how it's going to be, so that there's no surprises or anything later on. So just to start things off, I want to mention it's got this beautiful new track system, which was made by LS Mods. They gave me permission to use this track system on all my machines, so I've upgraded this on every machine. That'll be coming out in a later pack for the other machines, but it will definitely be included on this one. So not only are these a beautiful track, but they're actually a lot less glitchy than the old ones that used to be, and a lot less performance stealing. So these have been upgraded on every single machine because they are gorgeous and work fantastic. So big shout out and thank you to LS Mods. The other thing that's been going on is this Sky car up here has the winch mod, which was made by 50 Mods. His script has opened up some crazy doors for being able to make some fun things possible like this in the line skidder, which is coming out here soon. So another big thanks for him to giving me permission to use that on this machine, or else it would have never been possible. So his hard work in Lua made a pretty awesome thing. So between 50 and the LS Mods group, like I said, a big thank you to both of them for letting me use that stuff. Obviously they'll be credited, and I'm going to have a little thank you thing go out here pretty soon, showing all the links to their stuff. So anyway, without further ado, we'll talk about the machine. So this is the new body for the machine. This was purchased thanks to the Patreons. So if you're not a Patreon, I highly recommend, if you're using FDR mods and you want to donate, to become one, even for 1 month. You're going to get access to some pretty cool stuff early. But ultimately everything becomes public, so if you're interested in donating, definitely jump aboard the train. Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to kind of go over this thing and show you how it works, so that there's no surprises or people wondering what things are happening. So on this machine, first of all, this big tower boom here does not actually move. It stays stationary. I know on the real ones it goes up and down, but the way this thing's built, there's no purpose in this game for it to go up and down. So instead what I've done is I've made it so that that skyline moves back and forth from the tip. So it basically lets you set your skyline. So right now, this cord here that you see, the wire going up, basically just goes off into infinity. So yeah, it's stuck in the ground, but it goes off into infinity. So no matter where you put the skyline, it will reach out to wherever you put it. So as you see, I'm raising it. It's coming out of the ground there. So basically that just forms your skyline, and that's where it'll be. Now somewhere down there I cut some trees down. I can't remember where. So we'll demonstrate that. So that was my left joystick. Backwards raises it, forward drops it. This will be set up to the new controls. Obviously you still have your swing and your cab, which has been slowed down significantly because you honestly don't want to be swinging too fast with that when you've got it way out. The only other control it has is moving the car forward and running the car backwards. I know it moves pretty fast, but once you start doing some crazy distances, it's nice to be able to move it quick, which you'll see. It's got a camera, interior camera, and it's also got a camera on the Sky car that you can see. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be running with today. So I'm going to run the Sky car out. We'll start the machine. Also, if you hit B, it'll turn the winch on. As you can hear it turn off, turn on. So we're going to switch to the Sky car and we're going to run it down. And like I said, you can totally move the line around while you're doing it. I know that's not realistic to what a real one is, but this is the best we can do. So here's my trees that I have set up here. I've already went down and felled these with a chainsaw. So you can put it about here is probably lots. Now one thing that's going to be kind of funky, people will notice, if you're playing single player, I made it so that when you get out of the machine, you actually get out of this car. So you drop right here on the ground. This way, if you're running the Yarder from way up on the hill, you don't have to drive all the way down or walk all the way down, hook up your logs, then tab back up. This way you can tab, be inside your machine. As soon as you get out of your machine, it just drops you right where your thing is. This will be great for single player people because they'll be able to actually use the machine. Multiplayer, obviously whoever's running it can just sit in the machine and do honks or calls to the people, and you'll be able to pull it up when you're ready. So yeah, all you gotta do is after you've run it out, you've got it to the right distance, up in my top left corner, although you can't see it on mine, you'll be able to see it on yours, it says that there's a remaining rope for 878 meters. So basically you can attach this stuff for a long distance. I set it to 1,000 total, so you can do 1,000 meters. So from here to here is only 25. So you can imagine you could probably drag something across the whole map if you really wanted to. The reason I made it kind of unrealistically long like that is because it just gives people the possibility to do whatever they want, and that's kind of the freedom to do what you want. One funky thing about this is I'm pretty sure if I was standing on the other side of the map I could hook up a tree to this thing right now. So you'll want to make sure that you bring the box close to the trees. You just walk up, and same with 50K to script, you just hit B, it attaches on. I realize one thing that is kind of funky is this cord likes to move around, so it doesn't always come directly out of the box. That's something I'm still working on to see if I can make it stationary, but for the time being that's just the way it is. I've tried moving the model around all over the place, the collisions, but it still swings freely, and you'll notice that when we're pulling logs up. So for instance, we got this one, we got this one, we got this one, and this one. I'm sure we could easily grab these ones as well on the side, but that's good enough for our first pull. So yeah, you just tab back to your machine, you can switch to your skyline and watch it. If you hold down Z, it'll actually start raising those logs off the ground, or if you want to do it faster, Shift Z, which is part of his script. And like I said, you can see that cord kind of moves around. It's not directly out of the box, so that's, I know it looks kind of ridiculous, but that's just the best we can do right now. So I like to raise it so it's pretty close, but maybe not directly. If you find it starting to bob around too much, just hit X and it'll drop them to the ground. And then hit Shift Z and bring it up to a better location if you want. Also, this is a great way to pull your logs together, so if there's a lot of space between them, and I hit X and drop them all, see how close they are now? So if I hop out of the machine, if I had a little bit of stretch between them, I can disconnect this, reconnect, 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 reconnect. Now they're all in a really tight bundle together, so when you bring them up, it'll actually raise up quite nicely, and they'll be in a nice ship shape. So I mean, you don't really have to raise them up too much higher. I like to keep them a little bit off the ground. You can also raise the skyline if you really want to. Granted, I don't flip the machine because that's quite a bit of weight there. And then all you do, how's the machine doing? So the machine's doing alright. The machine's got a lot of weight, so it should be alright. Then all you do is just wheel them back up to your spot. And if you want, you can look ahead to see how close you are to your yarder line. Yeah, and just reel them in. And we'll zoom out this way so you can kind of see them coming up the landing here if you can. So yeah, this is just exactly like a real style skyline, right? And then as soon as you bring it up, depending on how you have your landing, like I know in lots of like axemen and stuff like that, they usually have a processor or something like that grabbing the logs as they drop them. So if I just free drop them right now and hit X, they'll probably slide down the hill. Oh, actually they dropped quite nicely. But now they're just sitting there. If you wanted them not to slide, you could just hit Z and just cinch up on them a bit. And then as soon as whatever piece of equipment, or if you're working with somebody or you have your own loader, you can grab hold of these guys, then hit X to let them go free, unwind them, then Shift B to disconnect them. And then you're ready for ready for another yard. So let's send her back down again. And like I said, the bonus to this is you can adjust the skyline wherever you want it, like on the fly. So if you need to change your angle, it's not like you have to rerun the whole skyline. So we can drop it about here, sure. And then we drop right out. And then we're going to grab this one, and this one, and this one. And we're going to tug them up a bit here. Oh. So one thing that does happen, you got to be careful, is if you get the butt end, so if you're falling a bunch of trees, make sure you fall them all in this area, because what's happening is this tip is prying against this tree and prying against this tree. So if I cut this tree down, I'll show you what happens here. That's just treating the physics as they're solid. Real trees in real life bend, so these ones don't. So now what's going to happen is, oh, it still might pry a little bit, maybe we'll give it one more snip. Now when I try to pull it, there we go. Now when we try to pull these trees up, they should come quite nicely and not be pried on there. So we can pull these ahead a bit. And if we really want, we can even swing the skyline a bit, which I know is not very realistic, but we're doing it anyway. And then hit X, just drop them all right there. See, look at that nice big pile they made. Beautiful. So now we can disconnect, reconnect, 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 reconnect. There you go. Hop back in your yarder, pull them up. And like I said, I like to bring them up just so they're kind of off the ground. That way when you're dragging them, it's a little more decent. And the machine handles pretty well considering how much weight is on the line. I haven't done really more than like 4 to 5 at a time, so I mean, you guys can try as many as you want. I'm sure it can handle quite a bit. And like I said, as you come up to the landing, you can zoom out with this guy to kind of see where you're dropping them if you want. And hopefully we can just go, whoop. And then hopefully they'll just settle there. So there you go. Now they're ready to be grabbed and put into piles or processed or whatever the heck you want to do. But yeah, like easily you could set this skyline to that mountain right over there and pull them all the way across if you really wanted to. And again, I know realism factor is probably right out the window for how far and how much this thing can yield, but it's definitely a fun toy and something I never thought would be possible to do this kind of stuff. It's something we dreamed about in 2015 as a joke, and now it's actually possible. So you'll notice a few weird things, like for instance that floating piece right there. This is all kind of detailed stuff that we're working on fixing, but for the time being it's just kind of staying like that. You can just ignore it if you want or whatever. Yeah, you can haul this guy fairly well. It is ridiculously heavy because it has to be heavy for when you're hauling that amount of trees, or else the whole thing just jumps around all pivoty. So it is ridiculously heavy. My current semi does haul it, but you'll notice it's quite a struggle sometimes if you're getting in some bouncy terrain. You'll notice that the low bed practically drags on the ground when you're hauling, so that makes things a little iffy. But for the most part, it's a pretty functional machine. I haven't had any really weird issues with it. I've tested some pretty cool spots. I know you can haul the big trees as well if you kind of maybe buck them up a little more. Sometimes they're a bit easier. But yeah, anyway, this sucker will be coming out here pretty soon, so Patreons will be getting it on the 3rd, I think I said, and then the rest of the public will be getting it on the 7th. So if you want to support FDR Logging, I highly recommend you drop by and do a patronage and get access to it early. And if not, I mean, you're welcome to wait till the public release. Thanks to everybody who, like LS Mods and 50K, for giving me the stuff to make this possible. I think it's going to be really fun and people are going to have a blast. So anyway, we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.